My name is Sabrina Kincaid, and I'm 52. Competence never asks for applause. It exhale whispers through my condo at 12:01 a.m. when the dishwasher slides into off-peak like a ballerina hitting her mark. The lamps warm 10 minutes before dusk. The budget app size a neat green square. Paid. People call that calm boring. They mistake the hush for weakness. But nets are quiet, right up to the second someone falls. Adrian calls the net a buzzkill. He said it cheerfully the day he moved a box into my place. My mortgage, my timers, my rules. He kept the cheer when he learned he could count on me. The cheer thinned the moment he couldn't. The text landed on a Tuesday evening, the kind of restaurant that charges extra for the space around microgreens. We should talk about the Range Rover. He'd been circling the dealership like a gull over a bright wrapper. His reasons were practical, then aspirational, then spiritual. I just feel more like myself behind a V8. The sedan he owned ran fine. The payment he wanted to shoulder alone was theater. What he wanted from me was a co-signature, a guarantee that if he detonated his budget, my net would hold. I typed, "If you want the SUV, finance it yourself." He responded like the cue had been hiding under his tongue. "If you really loved me, you wouldn't make me feel small. You'd help me level up." Another bubble. "I'm the best you'll ever have. You'll never do better than me." I stared at the sentence, the polish of it. The way it slotted into place felt rehearsed. Then I typed, "Probably not." There was a beat, the down bow between movements. "What does that mean?" he fired back. "It means you might be the best at what you're best at." Doesn't change my answer. "So are you going to co-sign or not?" "Not." 20 minutes later, he was at my door. He didn't knock so much as perform knocking. Curated concern, curated injury. I opened. He stepped in on a current of cologne and certainty. "We need to talk like adults," he said. "By all means." He walked the length of my living room as if measuring it for a victory speech. "When I said that thing about being the best you'll ever have, I meant I'm committed. I improve your life." "You make it louder," I said. "Sometimes that's fun. Sometimes it's not." "This isn't about a car, Sabrina. It's about whether you show up for your partner." "I am showing up. I'm saying no." He laughed without humor. "You're 52 years old. You really want to die on the hill of a signature? I'd like not to die under it." He pivoted to the kitchen island, fingers drumming. "Brianna's fiancé." He caught himself, softened the word. "Ex-fiancé." He put his name on everything for her. That's love. There it was. The ex. The ghost that drifted in when he needed leverage. I pictured her the way he'd painted her in glossy resentments, the flexible morals, the urgent needs, the expensive mistakes. A soft-focused cautionary tale kept in his back pocket. "She's your ex-girlfriend," I said, keeping my voice even, "and irrelevant to my finances." He stopped drumming. "So you don't care if I feel abandoned?" "I care." I picked up the folded dish towel and smoothed it along the counter edge. I don't negotiate with threats. "This isn't a threat." The text was. His mouth pressed into a straight line. Then he tried for tenderness, the way stage lights try for sunrise. "I just need to know you've got me." "I do," I said, "in the ways that fit inside the life I can afford." "And if I walk?" I met his eyes. They were pretty eyes, the kind that once hooked me into forgiving red flags because the blue was oceanic. "Then you walk." The moment tightened into a wire between us. I could hear the dishwasher hum, thrifty, reliable, while he weighed which role to play next. The pleader? The martyr? The director? Cueing my apology? He chose the director. He leaned in. "Sabrina, you're being cold. We've been together 3 years." "Yes," I said. And in those 3 years, everything simple became a debate. Holidays, dinner, when to leave a party, whether my sweater invited attention, how I spent $50 on lumber for a bookshelf you said was a waste of wood. I let my breath level out. "I'm tired of auditions for basic respect." He blinked. "Wow." The word sat between us, a pebble thrown into a deep well, waiting for the echo. "So, this is it? You're choosing a bill over love?" "I'm choosing peace over debt to a tantrum." The smile he'd kept in reserve, the charming one, never arrived. Instead, he gave me the look that had always worked on other people. Bewildered, injured prince. "I'm not breaking up with you," he said finally, "but you'd better fix this." "Drive safe," I said, and walked to the door. He didn't move. I opened it. "Good night, Adrian." On the threshold, he grasped for the line that had landed so cleanly by text. You'll never do better than me. You might be right, I said, but better than drama? That I can do. He left with the stiff dignity of a man exiting the wrong play at intermission. I locked the door, leaned my forehead against the wood, and felt the quiet rise around me like a tide. That night I did something radical. Nothing. I didn't call. I didn't post a paragraph about boundaries and self-worth. I didn't text a friend to triangulate my feelings into a verdict. I ate dinner with the game on low and the windows open to the city. My steak hissed as if it knew it was auditioning for a simpler life. No one told me red meat was a slow murder. No one asked why I used that much salt. The dishwasher blinked its soft green light. Morning came without a performance note. By day 3, my phone was a museum of unread exhibits. Are you really doing this? You're punishing me. Nate says you're being unreasonable. Brianna wants to grab coffee. I said I can't because my girlfriend is jealous. Are you? Be an adult. Call me. Nate texted separately. You okay? He's spiraling. I typed back, I'm fine, just quiet. He says you won't even talk about it. There's nothing to talk about, he asked. I answered. A pause. Then, you look lighter lately. I feel like a room with the windows open. On day 5, Adrian tried the surprise adult conversation technique. He buzzed up at 10:58 p.m. I didn't let him in. Sabrina, don't be childish. It's almost 11. This is why you'll end up alone. You think routines are personality. Good night, Adrian. He shouted something I didn't catch, and something I did, the faint metallic scrape along the driver's side of my truck as he walked past it to his ride. The sound tucked itself under my ribs. I pulled the ring feed on my phone. The camera framed him cleanly, the angle of the keys, the quick glance up, the scratch. I watched the clip twice. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I made a note in my planner to stop by the station. Document. Do not dramatize. I slept 8 hours without an alarm. At the precinct, the officer nodded through my explanation, watched the video, wrote the report. You pressing charges? Not today. I wanted a record, a paper net. When I left, the air felt cooler, not because the city had changed, but because I had. Indifference wasn't a performance, it was a practice. The group thread pinged that weekend. Terry's barbecue, Janet's birthday dinner, Domino's at Jeff's. I went to all 3. At the barbecue, Janet pulled me aside, mouth tilted into a real smile. You look rested, she said. Meat bad? I joked. No, she laughed, touching my forearm. Like someone turned the noise down. Someone did. Later, someone asked if Adrian was coming. We're on a break, I said, and felt no tremor under the words. There was a small, private happiness in that. Not spite, not triumph. Just air. At 11 p.m., my phone lit up with a new message from an unknown number. A selfie of Adrian at the gym, a woman's glossy hair in the corner, Brianna, I guessed. His caption, upgrades appreciate upgrades. Then another, still think you'll do better? I put the phone face down, rinsed my plate, and loaded the dishwasher. At 12:00 a.m., it slipped into off-peak. The net held, it didn't clap, it didn't gloat. It only breathed. 3 days of silence from me felt like months to him. By day 4, Adrian's texts had grown frantic, alternating between sweetness and contempt, love and threat. He called it mixed signals. I called it clarity in disguise. He left voicemails that sounded like bad auditions for empathy. Sabrina, you're really going to ghost me like a teenager? You think silence makes you powerful? It just makes you cold. We can fix this. I miss you. Stop being stubborn. I saw you posted that barbecue picture. Real classy, pretending you're fine. I wasn't pretending. I was fine. Better than fine, actually. I was calm. The first Saturday without him felt like spring cleaning inside my head. I made pancakes for breakfast and didn't hear someone sigh about carbs. I played my old jazz playlist without a monologue about how lyrics are supposed to mean something. When I stepped outside, even the air felt like it had opinions of its own again. That night, I went to a friend's dinner party. The table was laughter, mismatched plates, red wine, stories about vacations gone wrong. Someone asked, "So, where's Adrian?" And I just said, "He's busy being right." Everyone chuckled softly, one of those laughs that recognizes what isn't said. Later, I caught my reflection in the window, shoulders loose, eyes quiet. You look lighter, I thought. Adrian noticed too, or rather, he noticed that others were noticing. By the next weekend, the escalation began. He showed up at my gym, not his gym, mine. The man hadn't touched a treadmill in 2 years. But there he was, in new sneakers, pretending not to see me. I didn't say a word. When I moved to the weights, he gravitated closer, performing squats in full view. And then the finishing act, Brianna. His ex. Fresh highlights, cropped top, a laugh loud enough to carry over the clank of metal. They pretended to bump into each other, the world's least spontaneous collision. She said, "Oh my God, Adrian, you!" And he looked right at me when he answered, "Good to see you too." Then the predictable flourish, her hand on his arm, his lips grazing her cheek too long to be friendly. Terry, who happened to be spotting me, muttered, "Want to switch stations?" "No," I said. "I've got 2 sets left." When I walked past them to the water fountain, Brianna's perfume, sugary, insistent, clung to the air like residue from an old lie. Adrian smiled, that smug, "Are you jealous yet?" Smile. I smiled back, briefly, and left. That night, he sent another text. "You saw me with Brianna. Didn't look jealous. Impressive performance." I didn't respond. By Monday, the next move arrived. The keying of my truck had been a warm-up. Now came the social smear. Adrian started posting vague status updates. Never thought the person I loved most would be so toxic. Some people wear calm like armor. Underneath, pure control freak. Love isn't conditional. Manipulation is. His friends commented heart emojis and prayer hands. Ours, the mutual ones, stayed quiet. I didn't reply. Didn't even block him. Just lived. And that drove him wild. Every manipulator depends on the echo of their noise. When the echo dies, they start screaming into the void. He began coincidentally showing up at all my usual Saturday spots, hardware store, grocery aisle, my favorite cafe, each time with a new audience. The yoga instructor from his building, then a coworker, then Brianna again. Nate texted me privately. "He's losing it. Are you sure you're okay?" "I'm fine," I wrote. "He's just proving my point." The turning point came one Thursday night. I was at Terry's poker game, 7 of us, low stakes, higher laughter. Someone asked, "How's Adrian?" And I just said, "Performing." When I posted a photo, beer in hand, chips piled high, captioned Thursday Peace, I didn't think twice. The next morning I woke to 20 unread messages, all from Adrian. "Really? Boys' night? You think pretending to have fun makes you mature? You're embarrassing yourself. Everyone knows you miss me. I'm seeing someone who appreciates me. Brianna gets it." Then came the one that almost made me laugh. "I keyed your truck because I was hurt. Don't make me hurt again." Almost. I went to the police station, handed them the ring footage, and said quietly, "I'd like to add this to my file." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Same guy?" "Same one," I said. "I'm not pressing charges, just documenting." He nodded. "Smart. Documentation, not drama." That became my mantra. Within a week, Adrian pivoted to martyrdom. His posts shifted tone. Less fury, more reflection. Photos of sunsets with captions like, "Letting go is growth." Selfies in the gym mirror tagged, "Healing." And my favorite, a quote card saying, "Some people don't realize how much they needed you until you're gone." Janet sent it to our group chat with a single word, "Please." The silence between us, what he called the punishment, wasn't punishment at all. It was oxygen. I was learning how to breathe again without negotiating for air. Then, 2 weeks later, came the late-night pounding at my door. I opened just enough to see him. Eyes glassy, shirt half-tucked, rain streaking his face, or tears pretending to be rain. "Brianna dumped me," he said. "I'm sorry to hear that." "You're happy now, huh? You wanted this." "No," I said gently. "I wanted peace." He tried to step forward, but I blocked the doorway. "Adrian, it's after midnight. You can't do this. This is our home." "It's my home," I said. "You still have your apartment." 3 years, and this is how it ends? "You threatened to leave me over a car," I said quietly. "Now you have. Drive safely." He stared, trembling, as if trying to summon the right insult. Finally he spat. "You'll never do better than me." "You might be right," I said again. "But that's okay." He blinked. "You'd rather be alone?" "I'd rather be quiet." He walked away, shaking his head. I closed the door and stood still, listening to the echo fade down the hall. The next morning, the Ring camera showed one last small act of pettiness. He'd dumped a cup of iced coffee on my doormat. I wiped it up, humming. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was music. By the time 3 months passed, Adrian's fury had turned into performance art. He'd gone from angry posts to reflective ones, from toxic ex rants to vague quotes about rebirth and forgiveness. The captions read like open letters to no one. Some people confuse boundaries with walls. Healing means letting the wrong ones go. If they don't chase you, they never cared. His friends liked them. Our mutual friends didn't. One even texted me, "You should see what he's posting. He thinks he's in a Hallmark movie." I replied, "He's always loved an audience." The more peaceful I became, the louder he got. I started running again, a habit I'd given up years ago because Adrian said jogging was a waste of joints. I bought new sneakers, joined a weekend hiking group, and found joy in quiet mornings, the kind where the only sound was my own breath. Then one afternoon, Nate called. "Sabrina, can we talk about Adrian?" "We usually do," I said. "He wants to meet, just once, for closure." "Closure is what silence is for." "He's not doing well," Nate said softly. "He's not sleeping. He says he needs to understand what happened." "What happened," I said, "is accountability." He promised he'd be calm. Just coffee, 1 hour. I should have said no, but curiosity is a tricky thing. It wears reason's face. "Fine," I said, 1 hour, daylight, public place. He picked the Starbucks downtown. 3 p.m., sunlight, safety and caffeine and witnesses. When I arrived, he was already there, dressed for a comeback. New haircut, fitted jacket, cologne so heavy it left a wake. He smiled like a man greeting the past he assumed was waiting for him. "Sabrina," he said, rising halfway, "you look good, different." Different is the point. He sat, motioned to the chair across. "I didn't think you'd actually come." I almost didn't. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. "I just need to know. What happened to us?" I stirred my coffee. "We happened, and then we ended." "That's not an answer. It's the truest one I have." He sighed down dramatically. "You make everything sound so clinical, like love's a spreadsheet." "It was a spreadsheet," I said. "I paid every bill while you kept adding lines." That got under his skin. His jaw tightened. "You know, Brianna said you'd turn this around, that you'd rewrite the story to make yourself the victim." "I don't rewrite," I said. "I just stopped reading the same chapter." He blinked, thrown off by the calm. He switched tactics. "Look, I made mistakes, but we were good together." "We were loud together," I corrected. "There's a difference." 3 years means nothing to you?" "It means I learned what I won't repeat." He reached across the table, tried to touch my hand. I pulled back. "Don't," I said quietly. His face crumpled, like rejection was a foreign language. "I miss you. I miss quiet." "You're not even angry," he said. "That's worse." "Anger's a connection," I said. I cut the cord. He stared at me for a long time, then tried for pity. "You've changed." "No," I said. "I stopped pretending your chaos was normal." The cafe had gone oddly still. Barista wiping a counter, the hum of machines filling the pauses we weren't brave enough to. Then his tone shifted, that cold, familiar edge creeping back. "You think you're better than me, don't you?" "I think I'm better without you." Something broke. He grabbed his cup, an iced latte, and in one swift, childish motion, threw it across the table. Cold coffee splashed my blouse, ice cubes clattering onto the floor. Gasps around us. The barista froze mid-step. Adrian's chest heaved like a man who didn't expect the world to watch him lose. "Ma'am," the barista said firmly, "you need to leave." Adrian stammered. She... "I watched you throw it," she said. "Leave or I'll call the police." He stood, trying to salvage dignity from the wreckage. "You'll regret this," he hissed. "You'll die alone." I dabbed at my blouse with a napkin. "Maybe, but I'll die peaceful." He stormed out, the bell above the door jangling like applause for the truth. The barista came over with a towel and a fresh cup. "That was something." "Iced drama," I said. "On the house," she replied. The next day, Adrian's mother called. Her voice was kind, tired. "I'm sorry, dear. He told us what happened. We know how he is." "How he is?" I asked. "Always been difficult. We hoped he'd calm down with age." She paused. "If you ever want to stop by, Greg's working on his car again. He misses talking shop with you." "That's sweet," I said. "Maybe I will." I didn't cry afterward, not once. I didn't even replay the coffee incident in my mind. I just washed the blouse, put it on the next day, and wore it like armor. That weekend, I went hiking with my group. Midway up the trail, wind pushing through the pines, I realized something. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It had weight, meaning, shape. The absence of chaos isn't lack. It's space. Space where joy can fit again. At the summit, one of the hikers snapped a photo of the group, the valley behind us spilling gold in the afternoon sun. I smiled without realizing it. When the photo went up online, a mutual friend commented, "Sabrina, you look radiant." Someone else replied, "Peace looks good on her." And for the first time in years, I didn't rush to hide behind irony or explanation. I just liked the comment, turned off my phone, and watched the horizon breathe. 6 months. That's how long it took for Adrian's voice to fade from my life, like static dying at the edge of a frequency. The last time I heard from him was through a lawyer's letter, an absurd demand that I reimburse him for improvements he'd made to my home. Improvements meaning throw pillows, a spice rack, and a framed canvas of a quote he once said was our mantra. It wasn't. It was his way of pretending he had depth. My lawyer, who happened to be Terry's brother, sent a calm reply with itemized receipts. Car repairs I'd paid for, the vacation deposit he never refunded, dinners I'd covered, his credit card balance I'd once helped close. The total dwarfed his improvements. We never heard back. After that, the air went still. No texts, no sudden visits, no social media jabs disguised as enlightenment. Just quiet. And in that quiet, my life bloomed like something that had been waiting for sun. I finished the bookshelf I'd once abandoned because Adrian said it was a waste of time and wood. I sanded every plank, stained it the color of burnt honey, and when it dried, the grain gleamed like resilience. I filled it with the things he used to mock. The romance novels he called silly, the cookbooks he said I'd never use, the framed photo of my college friends he once said looked like a cult. Every shelf told a story of what I'd reclaimed. Then, one afternoon, I ran into Greg, Adrian's father, at the grocery store. He spotted me before I could turn away. "Well, look at you," he said, beaming. "Happier than I've ever seen you." "I'm doing all right." "I heard about everything," he said, lowering his voice. "You made the right choice." "You don't have to take sides, Greg." He shook his head. "Not taking sides, just telling the truth. Adrian's always been difficult. Even as a kid, he'd throw a tantrum if the world didn't revolve around him." He chuckled softly. "Now he's dating someone new. A dentist, I think. Nice enough from what I hear. Exhausted already, though." "I wish her luck," I said. "Don't," he replied. "She's going to need more than that." Greg leaned on his cart, eyes warm. "You ever get tired of peace, you can come by the garage. The '67 Mustang's almost done. Could use your opinion on the paint." "Maybe I will," I said, smiling. When we parted, I realized the oddest thing. Not only had I forgiven Adrian, I'd outgrown the version of myself who needed his chaos to feel significant. 2 weeks later, the final text arrived, from a new number, but the tone was unmistakable. "Just wanted you to know I'm engaged. Dennis proposed last night. 3 carats, 3 dental practices, $500,000 house in Westfield. I told you I'd upgrade. Still the best you'll ever have." I read it once, then once more, slower, like tasting a flavor I'd already lost interest in. I took a screenshot and sent it to my group chat with Janet and Terry. Terry: 3 months? He's engaged? Janet: that poor woman. Should we warn her? Me: not my circus. Then I deleted the screenshot, blocked the number, and went back to finishing my shelf. As I worked, I remembered the night Adrian had mocked the idea, standing over me with that smirk. "You think building something's going to make you feel accomplished? It's just wood, Sabrina." But it wasn't just wood. It was weight rediscovered, stability, the slow rhythm of choosing peace, one plank at a time. I set the last board in place and stepped back. The quiet filled the room like applause. Later that evening, I sat on the deck with a beer in hand, watching the sunset pour itself across the city. My phone buzzed once, a notification from Greg. A photo. Adrian at his engagement party, smile too bright, tux a size too small, standing beside a woman whose eyes already looked tired. In the background, Greg's wife sat off to the side, expression unreadable. Greg's caption read, 3 months taking bets. I laughed quietly, not cruelly, just softly, the way someone laughs when life finally stops being a fight. I didn't reply. I turned off my phone, placed it face down, and listened to the evening breathe. No drama, No rehearsed apologies, no tension disguised as passion. Just air and the hum of the city, and a peace so steady it felt like music. People say living well is the best revenge. They're wrong. Living peacefully is. And after 52 years, I was finally doing exactly that.